Hello, welcome. Oh, welcome. So this video is about brushes, if you hadn't known. And I love my brushes, but I've come to the conclusion in preparation for this little video that I have an addiction. I have about 250 brushes and didn't realize that I did. And the truth is I use about 7. I don't use them all, but I love them. They're my buddies. And every once in a while, I think to myself, ooh, oh, I like that one. Every once in a while, I think to myself, I want that brush right there. That would be perfect for what I'm looking for, because I'm painting something strange at the moment. Let me get these out of the way so we can really talk about brushes. Hang on. Okay, we're back. So let's talk about my favorite brushes and the ones I really like and why I use them so much. Because the truth is, I really don't use all the brushes I have. This set right here, this red set is called, I'm looking for my fourth one. There's a fourth, oh, here it is. Nope, that's not it. There's a fourth brush in the set here. These are called Raphael brushes. Let me get it so you can see them closer. These are the Raphael brushes. They're rounds and they are wonderful. I love them because they just seem to fit the bill. They are a synthetic brush and they fill the area beautifully and they blend beautifully. When I have a commission dog and cat, that kind of thing, almost always these are the brushes I'm going to use. Just good general brushes. They're not expensive. I think I bought these for like 11 bucks or something, but they're really good. But I've had them for a while, so the price could have changed. These are my first go-to brushes. My second go-to brushes, which you've already seen me paint with if you've been watching, are these. These are the Silver Black Velvet set, size 2, 4, and 8. And then I also bought a size, let's see, 2, 4, 8, oh, and this one, 3/4 inch. This is a nice fat guy. And you've seen me use these brushes and these brushes. These are 2 you're probably going to see me use when I am painting with you on camera. These are the most fantastic brushes, and they are not inexpensive. I'm sorry to say. It's $79 for a set of 3, and then I paid separate for this. I don't recall what it was. But let me tell you, if you really do enjoy painting, you decide you want to continue painting, save your pennies. Go ahead and go to Hobby Lobby and buy their really cheap set of 14 brushes for $6 or whatever it is. And then start saving your pennies and buy these. You will see such a difference in your paintings and the feel for how the paint moves when you're using these brushes. The other cool thing about these brushes is they have these wonderful points. Even the big fat one, as you can see, comes to a lovely point. The smaller ones, oh my gosh, beautiful, beautiful points. You can paint the narrowest of lines with these brushes. And they're designed to hold a lot of paint. So the paint kind of goes down into the brushes, down into here, so that when you're painting, it seems like I can paint forever without having to reload my brush with more paint. Because every time you reload the brush, you might notice that it's not exactly the same color sometimes as what you were just putting down previously. So Silver Black Velvet and Raphael Synthetic Carrel brushes. Those are the 2 you really should buy. These are awesome. So let me show you some other brushes that I really, really like. A mop brush. Everyone says you have to have a mop brush. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, a mop brush is really fun to play with. I like playing with it. It's soft. It's just like heaven. It's wonderful. And you use it for large paintings on doing backgrounds. Very soft, no hard lines, that kind of thing. But I'll be straight up honest, I have yet to use it on a painting. I just haven't. And so if I haven't, I suppose it's not that important to me, right? These are stencil brushes, and I have used them. You can see they're colored a little bit with ink, with the paint. I've used them when I want to stipple something. You know, when you want to do this kind of thing, if you know what stenciling is, you put the stencil paper down that's cut out, and you paint, you dab on the paint. Well, I've discovered along the years that these are great for making little dots, like in the middle of a flower, you know, where there's going to be little buds in the middle or something. They just make little tiny holes or dots in your paint, and they're really, really good. Okay, this rounds, you have round brushes, there's sets of rounds. You want to have a set of rounds, and you also want to have a set of flats. So flats come in a variety of sizes. Here's a couple of other ones. These are flats, and as they're described because they're a flat brush, right? Some flats have an angle to them, like this one is cut on an angle. And for some things you're doing, an angled flat is really good to have. Then you've got flats that are huge. You can take huge swaths of paper at a time. Those are also good to have. And I'm going to show you two other kinds. These are fan brushes. I've used these for years when I was doing acrylics. Years ago, fan brushes are really awesome. And I find I use them in watercolor a lot too. I was doing I think it was a German Shepherd I was doing for a commission, and this made the lines. I started out with a liner brush doing little tiny hairs. Let me show you liner brushes while we're talking about them. These are liner brushes. This is the different sets that I bought. These are inexpensive. You can buy liners. Oh my gosh, you can buy those for about $8 for like 6 liners. But the cool thing about liner brushes is they're so small. In some cases, they've got like 3 hairs in the brush. A crazy little tiny brush. I mean, not much of a brush at all on the end. And those are good for making little teeny tiny lines. So I was painting this German Shepherd once, and I was making I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I did it. I was drawing every stinking hair on that dog. I mean, doot, 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 like that. And I finally got smart and got a fan brush out. I forget which one of these I used. I think it was this one. A fan brush, which really does, like its name, it's like a fan. And I finally started making the hairs with a fan brush. And oh, it was such a better deal. So, you find these things out along the way, different ways you can do things. Here is a scrubber brush. Very hard, very stiff. They come in sets of usually 3. I know the Fitch scrubber brushes, this is one of them. It's just $10 for a set of 3 or 4 different sizes. These are used to take things away from your painting. When you make a mistake, you simply put it in water and you brush against your painting. Let me see if I can get something that's got paint on it. You would put it in water and you would lay it down on your watercolor paint, let it just soak a little bit, and then brush it away. Now, I'm going to warn you about these brushes for scrubbing. Not all paper is created equally, and you can easily, if it's an inexpensive watercolor paper, you can easily scrub into the paper. Like you can make a hole in your paper very easily if you're scrubbing. Or at the very least, when you're trying to erase paint, you could rough up the watercolor paper so it has little nubs on it, and it's not a pretty thing to behold. So you would probably, before you go for scrubber brushes, you would probably want to use just a plain watercolor brush, get it wet, hold it up against the watercolor paint, and try to brush the paint away. You can do that. That's your first step. Won't go away, you could try a scrubber brush. But if you really won't go away, you try these handy dandy things, which I mentioned in my last video. These are Mr. Clean Magic Erasers, which are awesome for taking away paint. And if you're careful with them, they won't scrub away your paper. This is just a little slice of it. They don't come looking like this. They come in a big block. But these are really great for erasing paint. So the last three things I'll show you is this. This is called a wisp brush. If you look at it really closely, you can see why it's called a wisp brush. It's got little tiny chunks of whiskers there as opposed to the main part of the brush. And you can make really wispy things with this, like the hair on a dog or the feathers on a bird. Wisp brushes are cool, and I have used these fairly often. This is my own design. I'm so proud of it. I'm going to market it. No, I'm not really going to market it because all it is a big old brush that was cheap. I had an old brush. It was cheap. I think I got it for $6 or something once. And so what I did was I took some silicone. You could take glue, as long as it wasn't water-soluble glue. Don't use like the regular school glue. You don't want it to be able to dissolve in water because you're going to use it with watercolor and waters. So I took a bunch of, let's see, where is my stuff here? I took some masking fluid if you happen to have some. That works really well. It's a silicone. If you don't have that, get some glue out. See what you got around your house. That's silicone glue. And I simply took this brush and I mushed it all over. I went like this and I squeezed it and twisted it and did crazy things to it while it had the glue on it, and then I let it dry. And what I came up with was what I call my octopus brush. This brush, although it looks really funky, is really awesome because you can make really cool little tiny flower buds with it, just dipping it and tapping it to your watercolor paper. You can also, if you have a background you want to put in, since it does kind of obscure, shapy things, you can take a really loose color, maybe a tea quality of paint and water, and make a background of leaves and flowers behind something with just this one brush without having to layer it and do all kinds of other funky things. I just use my octopus brush. That's what I call it. Last but not least, I have my toothbrush. So we're going to be using a toothbrush coming up in a video. In fact, I think I may have shown it already in one of the cone videos, the toothbrush. Toothbrushes are great for when you want to splatter paint on a painting. You can splatter paint more than one way. You could put paint on your paintbrush. Let me get something white underneath so you can see this better. You could put paint on your paintbrush and tap it with your finger to splatter paint on your painting. Or if you want a really fine splatter, you use a plain old toothbrush. You put this in water, you put it in your paint, put your thumb along the toothbrush and aim it down at your painting and simply pull your finger back like this against the bristles, and you can splatter paint on your painting. I have 2 toothbrushes and I use these a lot. I guess next to the expensive brushes I have, this is probably the most used brush that I have. So there you have it. I do have a lot of brushes. These are all the ones I just showed you. I also have one more thing I'll show you, and that's a liner. The liner brushes come in all different sizes, with just a few hairs up to lots of hairs, and you can make really tiny lines with them if you were doing especially illustrations. Those would be good brushes to use. So I have, as I say, a brush addiction. It's second only to my tube paint addiction. I think I have about 300 tube paints, but only because, in my defense, I have a whole set of watercolor ones and a whole set of gouache ones, and I have my metallic ones. So I love brushes, I love paints. I love seeing what I can do with the different kinds of brushes. So you buy the cheap brushes to start with, see if you like watercolor, and if you do, as soon as possible, put some money in your piggy bank and buy a set of the Raphael brushes and buy a set, so important, of the silver velvet black brushes. If you have those in your arsenal and a toothbrush, that's about all you need to paint what you want to paint. So, happy to see you, happy to talk to you about brushes. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I don't know what's coming up next. I have so many videos in the can now, I gotta go and figure them out. But I'm happy to see you. I'm happy you came to share some time with me today. So have a great day and be good to yourself. You know, we're all doing the best we can for who we are today. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.